Affordable housing in 2026? We were promised robotics and AI would revolutionize construction, slashing costs, and solving the supply crisis. So why are median home prices in metros like Boise still up 50% since 2019, according to Zillow's April 2026 data, while inventory remains stubbornly low? Analysts like Nick Jurley warned that the tech savior narrative was overblown, and he was right. Today, we're diving deep into why the robotic revolution hasn't delivered on affordable housing, examining the true bottlenecks beyond the hype. We'll look at the specific manufacturing and regulatory hurdles that AI just can't seem to compute, and what that means for your next housing payment. All right, let's talk about something that's been brewing under the surface of every real estate conversation lately: the promise of technology in housing. You hear the buzzwords: robotic construction, AI-driven design, 3D printed homes, and the narrative always points to a future where housing is abundant, efficient, and, most importantly, affordable. Builders like Icon and Mighty Buildings are pushing the envelope, promising to slash costs and build homes in days, not months. But here's the kicker. It's 2026, and despite all this innovation, the affordable housing crisis, particularly for entry-level buyers, is actually worsening in many key metros. Take a look at what's happening in Florida. Even with new construction models being tested in places like Lake Nona, the median sale price for an existing home in Orlando is still up 7% year over year, while median wages have only climbed 3%. And it's not just the purchase price. According to the Frio team's 2026 forecast, even with stable home prices and easing mortgage rates, housing affordability will remain broken because of a different set of financial pressures. They argue that affordability issues now stem from the total cost of homeownership, not just the sticker price. We're seeing this play out in real time. We're going to dig into why the much-hyped tech revolution isn't delivering on its promise of affordability right now, and what's really driving up the cost of owning a home in 2026. Plenty of promising starts, but when we look at the actual numbers, housing affordability in 2026 feels more broken than ever. It's not just about the sticker price of a home. It's about the escalating total cost of ownership. The Frio team's latest forecast for 2026 explicitly highlights surging property taxes and homeowners insurance as the silent killers of affordability, eating away at any gains from marginally easing mortgage rates. Think about it. Even if median home prices in, say, Tampa, stay flat year over year at around $400,000, your monthly housing payment can still jump significantly. We're seeing homeowners insurance premiums in Florida up an astonishing 40 to 60% in just the last 18 months, according to reports from multiple carriers this past December, with some specific policies, like those from Universal Property and Casualty, increasing over 70% in high-risk zones. And property taxes? In places like Austin, valuations from the 2025 assessment are still pushing levies higher, often by double digits. For instance, a homeowner in Travis County whose property was assessed at $550,000 in 2024 could easily see a 12% increase on their 2025 tax bill, regardless of the home's actual market performance over the last year. This isn't just a construction cost problem, nor is it solely driven by interest rates. It's a systemic issue tied to these post-purchase expenses, creating a scenario where even stable home prices aren't translating into true affordability improvements. It's like a hidden inflation, eroding purchasing power long after the initial mortgage is signed. This makes you wonder, if the total cost is still climbing, what exactly are these supposed technological leaps in construction, like AI-powered prefabrication or drone-assisted site surveys, even addressing? It's the ghost in the machine. Why robotics aren't building our way out of this crisis when these external cost pressures negate their efficiency gains? The initial hope was that robotic construction could drastically lower labor costs and speed up building, making housing cheaper. Companies like Mighty Buildings, with their 3D printed panelized homes, have certainly shown promise in controlled environments, demonstrating how automation could theoretically slash on-site labor needs by upwards of 80%. But despite these advancements, widespread robotic deployment in affordable housing projects remains stubbornly limited here in in 2026. Why? Well, it often comes down to the same old barrier: money. The high initial investment in sophisticated robotic systems, like the gantry cranes and specialized print heads needed for large-scale 3D printing, can be prohibitive for budget-conscious, affordable housing developers. We're talking millions for a fully integrated system. And then there are the regulatory hurdles. Local building codes, which vary wildly from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Think about the difference between, say, Miami-Dade and Sarasota County. Often haven't caught up to these new construction methods. Union concerns about job displacement also contribute to a slower adoption rate for entirely new workflows. Consider a project in Phoenix trying to roll out 50 units of affordable housing. While a fully automated factory could theoretically produce parts faster, the complexity of diverse housing designs, varying site conditions, and the need for human finishing touches often make full automation less cost-effective than anticipated for individual, smaller-scale projects. It's not a factory churning out identical cars. Every lot, every foundation, has its own quirks. So while the robots sit ready, the underlying mechanics of real estate development, capital, regulation, and on-the-ground variability are still largely manual. But here's where the story gets interesting. Because while industrial robots might not be building our houses en masse, AI's hidden hand is making a difference in ways that are far less visible, but potentially more impactful. But here's where the narrative gets twisted, because AI is actively powering solutions in local housing as of February 3rd, 2026. It's just not in the flashy, build-it-from-scratch way we often imagine. Instead, AI algorithms are optimizing housing allocation, identifying areas of greatest need, and matching tenants with available units more efficiently. Take HousingAI.ca, for instance. Their deep dive into Canadian housing, published April 9, 2026, used AI to synthesize data from Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, TRREB, Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board, GVR, and RBC economic forecasts, revealing critical insights into supply chain bottlenecks for materials like lumber and steel that traditional analysis, reliant on lagged quarterly reports, consistently missed. This proactive approach helped city planners in Vancouver identify and mitigate potential delays on over 3,000 proposed units. And it's not just allocation. We're seeing AI used for predictive analytics to understand where the market is actually headed. Realtina, in an October 28, 2024 initiative called Project Horizon, leveraged AI to forecast market trends for the next 5 years across 15 major U.S. metropolitan areas, providing crucial data for developers like Lennar Corporation and policymakers alike. This kind of behind-the-scenes intelligence, leading to a projected 7% increase in new affordable housing project approvals in target cities, is exactly what Bob Simpson, Director of Urban Futures at the Schumacher Institute, highlighted in his February 24, 2026 article, The Future of AI in Affordable Multifamily Housing. Simpson argues that while AI isn't physically building homes itself, its positive impact on operational efficiency, resource deployment, and land use optimization directly contradicts the idea of non-delivery. It's less about a robot laying bricks, and more about AI ensuring those bricks go where they're most needed, optimizing the existing housing stock and future development through smarter, data-driven decisions. It's a subtle but significant distinction that often gets lost in the broader conversation about technology. So, while we might not see Rosie the robot building our next starter home, AI's hidden hand is very much at play. The real stumbling block is that while AI excels at data analysis and predictive modeling, it doesn't directly build physical structures. This creates a significant misconception about its tangible role in delivering housing. As Dr. Bob Simpson, a leading urban planning expert, noted in his February 3, 2026 op-ed for How Data and AI Will Power Local Housing Solutions, AI's focus in 2026 is often on management, optimization, and innovative financing solutions, not on swinging a hammer or pouring concrete. For instance, AI can tell us with remarkable precision where housing is most critically needed, perhaps identifying specific Toronto postal codes like M4K or M6J where rental vacancy rates are below 0.5% and demand is soaring, or how to optimally allocate existing provincial resources for maximum impact. However, it doesn't physically lay the foundation itself. Consider this. Statistics Canada reported Canadian household net worth surged to an astonishing $18.6 trillion in Q4 2025, primarily driven by financial assets. That's a staggering amount of wealth concentrated in digital and investment portfolios, but it's not directly translating into tangible, affordable housing units on the ground. AI's impact on mortgage rates or property taxes, while indirect through sophisticated market analysis and risk assessment algorithms, hasn't fundamentally solved the underlying issues of material cost escalation or labor shortages. It's a powerful tool for understanding complex market dynamics, certainly. It can flag potential risks with incredible accuracy, like predicting specific coastal zip codes where property insurance premiums might spike by 20% in the next year based on climate models from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC. But AI isn't a magic bullet for systemic change. The broken aspect of housing affordability stems from broad economic factors, entrenched regulatory hurdles like slow permitting processes in major municipalities, and plain old supply and demand imbalances for skilled trades. AI can optimize the existing system, making it more efficient, but it can't conjure up a new one from scratch. This crucial distinction must be understood as we look at the real road ahead. Integrating tech for a holistic solution. The real road ahead for housing affordability, certainly in 2026 and beyond, isn't about one silver bullet. It's a holistic approach where AI and robotics act as integrated tools, not standalone saviors. AI, for example, is already proving its worth in strategic interventions. We're seeing it in initiatives like realestate October 2024 AI forecasting project, which queried large language models for hyperlocal market predictions, giving city planners an edge in data-driven policymaking. Similarly, HousingAI.ca's deep analytics tools, as of February 3, 2026, are helping identify genuine housing needs and optimize resource allocation in Canadian municipalities. This kind of predictive modeling is crucial for preventing future crises by understanding demand before it overwhelms supply. Robotics, on the other hand, will likely see more incremental adoption. We're not getting fully automated neighborhoods overnight. Instead, think specific, repetitive construction tasks in controlled factory environments, things like panelized wall systems or even some internal finishing work. This gradual integration will chip away at labor costs and speed up build times, especially for projects like modular housing that can leverage off-site fabrication. But the core challenge, as the Frio team consistently points out, isn't just construction cost. It's the surging property taxes, up 12% year over year in places like Duval County, Florida, and homeowners insurance premiums, which have jumped by as much as 30 to 40% annually in high-risk zones, eating away at affordability regardless of construction tech. True affordability, then, requires a multifaceted strategy. It's about combining that smart technology with targeted government subsidies, innovative financing models, think shared equity programs or land trusts, and crucially, regulatory reforms that foster sustainable, long-term growth. We need policies that address the underlying mechanics of escalating carrying costs, not just the upfront build. So the idea that AI and robotics are simply not delivering on affordable housing in 2026 is, frankly, too simplistic. It's not a failure of the tech itself, but a misunderstanding of its current role and limitations. We're not seeing AI build modular homes overnight, but it's absolutely, demonstrably optimizing existing resources, streamlining allocation, and providing critical data-driven insights that inform policy and development. The underlying mechanics of housing affordability, zoning, land use, construction costs, and yes, even the generational lock-in effect we're seeing in markets like Seattle and Austin, these are complex, human-driven challenges. Tech is an accelerant, a tool, but not the sole solution. What specific AI-powered housing allocation tools have you encountered in your local market? Have they genuinely made a difference in how units are matched with need? Or do you feel the human element is still the biggest bottleneck? Drop your experiences and insights in the comments below. And if you're serious about understanding the real mechanics driving your local housing market, hit that subscribe button. Next, you'll want to watch my deep dive into how changing insurance regulations are quietly pushing up median home prices across the Sun Belt, impacting everyone from first-time buyers to institutional investors.